Two young women, separated by 3 years and different dreams, would become forever linked by a predator who believed he could disappear into the vast Montana wilderness. Their stories, buried beneath decades of unanswered questions, would finally emerge through the persistence of investigators who refused to let time erase justice. Bozeman, Montana, in the mid-1990s, represented the quintessential American college town, where the rugged beauty of the Rocky Mountains met the intellectual energy of Montana State University. With a population hovering around 25,000 residents, this Gallatin Valley community prided itself on being a safe haven where students could pursue their education while outdoor enthusiasts flocked to world-class skiing, hiking, and fishing opportunities just minutes from downtown. The economic boom of the 1990s had begun transforming Bozeman from a quiet agricultural center into a destination for tech workers and retirees seeking mountain living. New subdivisions sprouted along the valley floor, while Main Street maintained its historic charm, with local businesses serving both longtime residents and the growing student population. Despite this growth, Bozeman retained the small-town atmosphere where neighbors knew each other and violent crime remained relatively rare. Montana State University served as the community's heartbeat, bringing approximately 11,000 students to campus each semester. The university's programs in engineering, agriculture, and the sciences attracted students from across the region and beyond. Campus life centered around academic achievement, outdoor recreation, and the strong sense of community that defined Montana culture. Students frequently walked alone between dormitories, libraries, and off-campus housing, trusting in the safety that had long characterized their adopted home. According to university records, the first victim, 20-year-old Danielle Morrison, embodied the spirit of determination that drew many students to Montana State. A junior majoring in environmental science, Danielle had transferred from a community college in Oregon, drawn by the university's renowned ecology programs and the opportunity to conduct field research in some of America's most pristine wilderness areas. Friends described her as methodical in her studies and passionate about conservation work. Danielle lived in a modest apartment complex popular with upperclassmen, located approximately 2 miles from the main campus. The Complex E, built in the early 1980s, featured basic amenities and affordable rent that appealed to students managing tight budgets. According to police reports, residents frequently left doors unlocked and felt comfortable walking to their cars alone, even during evening hours. Her daily routine, as documented by investigators, typically involved morning classes, afternoon laboratory work, and evening study sessions at the university library. Danielle worked part-time at a local outdoor gear shop, where her knowledge of hiking equipment and genuine enthusiasm for Montana's recreational opportunities made her popular with customers planning wilderness adventures. The second victim, 24-year-old Christina Valdez, represented a different path through the Bozeman community. According to employment records, Christina had moved to Montana in 1998 after completing her degree in business administration at a university in Colorado. She accepted a position with a regional banking institution, drawn by opportunities for career advancement and the quality of life that smaller Montana cities offered young professionals. Christina rented a townhouse in a newer development on Bozeman's expanding south side, where young professionals and graduate students comprised the primary demographic. The neighborhood featured well-maintained landscaping, adequate lighting, and what residents considered excellent security. According to witness statements, Christina maintained an active social life, participating in hiking groups and volunteering with local environmental organizations. Both women navigated Bozeman during a period when the community grappled with rapid growth while attempting to preserve its traditional character. Local newspapers from the era document ongoing discussions about development pressures, infrastructure needs, and maintaining the balance between economic opportunity and small-town values that made Bozeman attractive to residents and newcomers alike. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Department, responsible for law enforcement in areas surrounding Bozeman city limits, operated with a staff of approximately 30 officers during this period. According to departmental records, their caseload primarily involved property crimes, domestic disputes, and occasional incidents related to the university's social activities. Violent crimes against strangers remained exceptionally rare, creating a false sense of security that would prove tragically misplaced. Neither Danielle nor Christina could have anticipated that their ordinary lives in this seemingly safe community would intersect with a predator who had been watching, waiting, and planning. Their stories would become testament to both the vulnerability that exists even in the safest communities and the determination of investigators who refuse to let time diminish their pursuit of justice. October 8th, 1996 began as an ordinary Tuesday for Danielle Morrison. According to witness statements collected by investigators, she attended her morning environmental chemistry class and spent the afternoon working on a research project in the university's biology laboratory. Her academic advisor later told police that Danielle had seemed focused and optimistic about her upcoming field research proposal, scheduled for presentation the following week. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Department received their first indication that something was wrong when Danielle failed to appear for her Wednesday morning classes. Her academic advisor, concerned by this uncharacteristic absence, contacted campus security after Danielle missed a crucial laboratory session where she was expected to present preliminary research findings. According to university records, Danielle had never missed an important academic commitment without prior notification. Campus security officers conducted an initial welfare check at Danielle's apartment complex on Wednesday evening. Property management records show that maintenance staff used a master key to enter her unit after repeated knocking produced no response. Officers discovered signs that Danielle had returned home from campus on Tuesday evening, as evidenced by her backpack containing completed homework assignments and her work uniform laid out for her scheduled Thursday shift at the outdoor gear shop. According to the initial police report, investigators found no obvious signs of struggle within the apartment. Danielle's personal belongings remained undisturbed. Her wallet contained cash and credit cards, and her vehicle sat in its assigned parking space. However, her absence from the apartment and failure to contact family, friends, or employers suggested circumstances beyond a voluntary departure. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Department elevated the case to an active missing person investigation on Thursday morning. Detective units began conducting systematic interviews with Danielle's classmates, professors, co-workers, and neighbors. According to investigative records, these initial interviews revealed no obvious conflicts, threats, or concerning relationships that might explain her disappearance. Witness statements indicated that Danielle had been seen walking from her car to her apartment building around 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday evening. A neighbor reported observing her carrying groceries and her usual academic materials. According to this witness, nothing appeared unusual about Danielle's demeanor or circumstances during this final confirmed sighting. Search efforts began Friday morning, coordinated between the Sheriff's Department, campus security, and volunteer groups organized by Montana State University. According to operational reports, search teams focused on hiking trails, campus areas, and the Gallatin River corridor, where Danielle frequently conducted environmental research. Local media coverage encouraged community members to report any information regarding her whereabouts. The discovery that would transform this missing person case into a homicide investigation occurred on Sunday, October 13th. According to Sheriff's Department records, a recreational hiker exploring a remote area approximately 12 miles northeast of Bozeman contacted authorities after discovering human remains in a heavily wooded ravine. The location, accessible only by hiking trail, sat well beyond areas typically frequented by casual outdoor enthusiasts. Gallatin County investigators, assisted by the Montana State Crime Laboratory, confirmed the remains belonged to Danielle Morrison through dental records provided by her family dentist. According to the coroner's preliminary findings, evidence suggested Danielle had been the victim of a violent attack, though specific details regarding the cause of death were withheld pending the completion of forensic analysis. The crime scene, according to investigative reports, yielded limited physical evidence due to exposure to weather conditions and wildlife activity. However, forensic specialists collected trace materials and documented the scene using photography and detailed measurements. The remote location suggested the perpetrator possessed knowledge of local terrain and confidence in navigating wilderness areas without detection. News of Danielle's death sent shockwaves through the Bozeman community. According to newspaper archives from the period, this marked the first homicide involving a Montana State University student in recent memory. Campus administrators immediately implemented enhanced security measures, including increased lighting around dormitories and expanded escort services for students traveling alone during evening hours. The investigation revealed troubling implications about the perpetrator's methods and planning. According to detective reports, the evidence suggested Danielle had been abducted from or near her apartment complex, transported to the remote location, and killed there. The careful selection of the disposal site indicated the perpetrator's familiarity with local geography and understanding of areas unlikely to be discovered quickly. Local law enforcement agencies coordinated their response, with the Gallatin County Sheriff's Department leading the investigation while receiving assistance from the Montana Division of Criminal Investigation. According to operational records, investigators established a dedicated tip line and assigned additional detectives to work exclusively on the case. The impact on Montana State University proved immediate and lasting. According to administrative records, enrollment in evening classes declined, student participation in outdoor activities decreased, and campus security reported increased requests for safety escorts. The sense of security that had long characterized life in Bozeman had been fundamentally shattered by this act of violence against an innocent young woman pursuing her education and dreams. The investigation into Danielle Morrison's death consumed the Gallatin County Sheriff's Department throughout the winter of 1996 and into 1997. According to case files, detectives pursued multiple investigative avenues, interviewing over 200 individuals connected to Danielle's academic, professional, and personal life. The systematic approach yielded extensive documentation, but few concrete leads pointing toward a specific suspect. Investigators focused initial efforts on individuals within Danielle's immediate circle. According to police reports, detectives conducted thorough background checks on classmates, professors, co-workers at the outdoor gear shop, and residents of her apartment complex. Each person underwent detailed interviews, with some individuals questioned multiple times as investigators sought to identify any overlooked connections or suspicious behaviors. The forensic evidence collected from the crime scene presented significant challenges. According to laboratory reports, the remote location and extended exposure to environmental conditions had compromised much of the physical evidence. DNA technology in 1996, while advancing rapidly, lacked the sensitivity and database capabilities that would later prove crucial to solving cold cases. The limited biological evidence recovered required preservation for future analysis as forensic science continued evolving. Detectives explored the possibility that Danielle's environmental research activities might have connected her to the perpetrator. According to investigative records, Her field work often took her to remote locations throughout the Gallatin Valley, potentially creating opportunities for contact with individuals who shared knowledge of wilderness areas. However, this line of inquiry failed to produce viable suspects despite extensive interviews with fellow researchers, Park Service personnel, and outdoor recreation enthusiasts. The investigation gradually shifted toward examining transient populations and individuals with histories of violent crime in the region. According to Sheriff's Department records, detectives coordinated with law enforcement agencies across Montana and neighboring states, seeking information about similar crimes or suspects who might have been present in the Bozeman area during October 1996. This broader approach generated numerous tips, but no breakthrough developments. As months passed without resolution, the case began receiving less intensive daily attention, though it remained officially active. According to departmental protocols, detectives continued following up on tips and reviewing evidence periodically, but the immediate urgency that characterized the initial investigation gradually diminished as other cases demanded resources and attention. The community's sense of vulnerability persisted even as the immediate shock of Danielle's death faded. According to local newspaper archives, campus security measures remained heightened, and many residents continued exercising greater caution in their daily routines. The unsolved nature of the crime left everyone wondering whether the perpetrator remained in the area, potentially planning another attack. Those fears proved tragically prescient on March 22, 1999. Christina Valdez, the young banking professional who had moved to Bozeman seeking career opportunities and mountain lifestyle, failed to report for work at her downtown office. According to employment records, Christina maintained an exemplary attendance record and had never missed work without notification, immediately raising concerns among her supervisors and colleagues. Christina's employer contacted the Gallatin County Sheriff's Department that evening after repeated attempts to reach her by telephone proved unsuccessful. According to the initial report, deputies conducted a welfare check at Christina's townhouse, discovering circumstances eerily similar to those found at Danielle Morrison's apartment nearly 3 years earlier. The scene at Christina's residence showed clear evidence of her return from work the previous evening. According to police documentation, her professional attire hung in the bedroom closet, her briefcase sat on the kitchen counter containing completed work projects, and her vehicle remained parked in the designated space outside her unit. Personal belongings, including jewelry and cash, remained undisturbed throughout the townhouse. Investigators immediately recognized the similarities between Christina's disappearance and the circumstances surrounding Danielle Morrison's case. According to detective reports, both women had vanished from their residences without signs of struggle, leaving behind personal items that suggested they had returned home safely before encountering their attacker. The methodical nature of both disappearances indicated a perpetrator who planned carefully and possessed knowledge of his victims' routines. The discovery of Christina's remains occurred 6 days later, when a maintenance worker for the county road department noticed disturbed earth in a remote area approximately 18 miles southwest of Bozeman. According to investigative records, the location shared characteristics with the site where Danielle's body had been found: isolated, accessible only by hiking trail, and requiring intimate knowledge of local terrain to navigate successfully. Forensic analysis confirmed that Christina had been the victim of a violent attack similar to that which claimed Danielle's life. According to coroner reports, the evidence suggested both women had encountered the same perpetrator, establishing a clear pattern that transformed two separate tragedies into a coordinated investigation seeking a serial killer operating in the Gallatin Valley. The discovery of Christina Valdez's remains prompted an immediate escalation in investigative resources. According to departmental records, The Gallatin County Sheriff's Department established a joint task force with the Montana Division of Criminal Investigation, the Bozeman Police Department, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Behavioral Analysis Unit. This collaborative approach represented the largest criminal investigation in the county's recent history. The task force operated under the assumption that a serial killer had targeted young women in the Bozeman area. According to investigative protocols established in 1999, profilers from the FBI analyzed both crime scenes, victim backgrounds, and the perpetrator's apparent methods to develop a behavioral profile. Initial assessments suggested the suspect possessed extensive knowledge of local terrain, demonstrated careful planning capabilities, and likely maintained a legitimate reason for being in areas where he encountered his victims. Investigators pursued their most promising lead through analysis of individuals who had interacted with both victims. According to case files, detectives identified several dozen people who had potential contact with both Danielle Morrison and Christina Valdez through various community connections. This included employees at outdoor recreation businesses, university maintenance staff, delivery personnel, and individuals involved in environmental organizations where both women had participated. The investigation's first significant error occurred when detectives focused intensively on a university maintenance worker who had access to campus buildings and possessed knowledge of hiking trails throughout the region. According to internal reports, this individual became the primary suspect after witnesses placed him near Danielle's apartment complex on the evening of her disappearance. The investigation consumed thousands of hours over 6 months, including extensive surveillance and multiple interrogations. DNA evidence ultimately eliminated this suspect, but the intensive focus had diverted resources from other investigative avenues. According to task force documentation, the prolonged investigation of this individual created a false sense of progress, while the actual perpetrator remained free to potentially commit additional crimes. This experience highlighted the dangers of tunnel vision in complex criminal investigations. Media attention intensified pressure on law enforcement agencies to produce results. According to newspaper archives from 1999 and 2000, local and regional media outlets provided extensive coverage of the investigation, often speculating about potential suspects and investigative strategies. The constant scrutiny created additional challenges for investigators who needed to balance public information requests with the necessity of protecting sensitive investigative details. Community fear reached unprecedented levels as residents grappled with the reality that a serial killer operated in their midst. According to police reports, calls to law enforcement increased dramatically, with citizens reporting suspicious activities and requesting welfare checks on family members who failed to maintain regular contact. The heightened anxiety placed additional strain on law enforcement resources already stretched by the intensive investigation. The task force explored connections to similar crimes throughout the Mountain West region. According to interstate coordination records, investigators communicated with law enforcement agencies in Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and neighboring states, seeking information about unsolved cases involving young women. This broader approach generated extensive data, but failed to identify clear connections to crimes outside the Gallatin Valley. Forensic evidence analysis presented ongoing challenges despite advances in DNA technology. According to laboratory reports, the limited biological evidence recovered from both crime scenes required careful preservation and analysis using evolving scientific methods. However, the degraded condition of much evidence and the absence of comprehensive DNA databases limited the immediate utility of forensic findings. Investigators pursued the theory that the perpetrator might be employed in a profession requiring travel throughout rural Montana. According to case documentation, detectives examined employment records for utility workers, delivery drivers, construction personnel, and others whose work might take them to remote areas where they could scout potential disposal sites. This line of inquiry generated extensive interviews, but no viable suspects. The investigation's scope expanded to include examination of hunting and fishing license records, seeking individuals who demonstrated familiarity with the specific areas where victims' remains were discovered. According to Wildlife Department cooperation records, thousands of license holders received scrutiny, with investigators conducting background checks and interviews with those who had documented access to the relevant locations. As the investigation approached its second anniversary without resolution, task force leadership acknowledged the need for different approaches. According to internal assessments, traditional investigative methods had reached their limits given the available evidence and witness testimony. The case required technological advances and innovative investigative techniques that were still developing within the law enforcement community. By 2002, the Joint Task Force investigating the murders of Danielle Morrison and Christina Valdez had exhausted its most promising leads. According to departmental records, the intensive investigation had consumed over 15,000 investigative hours, generated more than 3,000 pages of documentation, and cost multiple agencies approximately $400,000 in combined resources. Despite this unprecedented effort, no arrests had been made, and no viable suspects remained under active investigation. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Department officially reclassified both cases as cold cases in January 2003. According to administrative protocols, this designation meant that while the cases remained technically active, they would no longer receive daily investigative attention unless new evidence emerged or technological advances created fresh opportunities for analysis. The decision reflected the reality that traditional investigative methods had reached their practical limits. Detective assignments shifted to address current cases requiring immediate attention. According to personnel records, the specialized investigators who had devoted years to pursuing the serial killer were reassigned to handle the county's ongoing caseload of domestic violence, property crimes, and drug-related offenses. However, the Sheriff's Department maintained a policy requiring periodic review of cold case evidence and continued accepting tips from the public. The transition to cold case status devastated the victims' families, who had maintained hope that intensive police work would eventually identify their daughter's killer. According to victim advocacy records, both families struggled with the apparent end of active investigation while simultaneously trying to rebuild their lives around the permanent absence of their loved ones. The lack of closure compounded their grief and created lasting trauma that extended beyond the immediate family members. Danielle Morrison's parents established a memorial scholarship at Montana State University to support environmental science students pursuing field research. According to University Foundation records, the scholarship honored their daughter's academic passion while creating a positive legacy from tragedy. The annual award ceremony served as both remembrance and reminder that Danielle's killer remained free. Christina Valdez's family relocated from Montana shortly after the case went cold, unable to remain in the community where their daughter had been murdered. According to family statements provided to victim services, the constant reminders of the unsolved crime and the fear that the perpetrator might still be present made continuing their lives in Bozeman impossible. Their departure represented another victory for the unknown killer. The broader Bozeman community adapted to living with an unsolved double murder in ways both visible and subtle. According to campus security reports, Montana State University maintained enhanced safety protocols years after the crimes, including expanded lighting, increased patrol coverage, and mandatory safety orientations for new students. The measures became permanent features of campus life rather than temporary responses to immediate danger. Local businesses, particularly those serving young women, implemented additional security measures that persisted long after media attention faded. According to Business Association records, many establishments installed improved lighting, security cameras, and employee escort policies. The outdoor recreation industry, central to Bozeman's economy and identity, experienced lasting changes as solo hiking and camping became less common among young women. Real estate patterns reflected the community's ongoing anxiety about the unsolved crimes. According to property records, apartment complexes and residential areas where the victims had lived experienced higher turnover rates and increased security installations. Property managers reported that prospective tenants frequently inquired about safety measures and crime history before signing leases. Law enforcement agencies preserved all physical evidence from both crime scenes in climate-controlled storage facilities, anticipating future technological developments that might enable new analysis. According to evidence management protocols, biological samples, trace materials, and photographic documentation remained available for testing as forensic science continued advancing. This preservation proved crucial for eventual resolution of the cases. Periodic attempts to reinvigorate the investigation occurred when new technologies emerged or when similar crimes in other jurisdictions suggested possible connections. According to case review records, detectives revisited the evidence in 2005 when DNA analysis capabilities improved, and again in 2008 when the combined DNA index system expanded to include additional genetic markers. Each review generated renewed hope, but no immediate breakthroughs. The cases maintained visibility through annual media coverage marking the anniversaries of the crimes. According to newspaper archives, local journalists continued reporting on the unsolved murders, often featuring interviews with investigators who expressed continued commitment to finding justice. These stories served to keep public awareness alive and occasionally generated new tips from community members. The passage of time created both obstacles and opportunities for eventual resolution. While witnesses' memories faded and some individuals moved away or died, advances in forensic science and investigative techniques offered new possibilities for analyzing preserved evidence and identifying suspects through methods unavailable during the original investigation. The breakthrough that would finally bring justice for Danielle Morrison and Christina Valdez emerged from advances in genetic genealogy that revolutionized cold case investigations nationwide. In September 2023, the Gallatin County Sheriff's Department partnered with the Montana State Crime Laboratory and a specialized genetic genealogy company to reanalyze DNA evidence preserved from both crime scenes using cutting-edge techniques unavailable during the original investigation. According to laboratory reports, forensic scientists successfully extracted sufficient genetic material from evidence collected nearly 3 decades earlier to create a comprehensive DNA profile of the perpetrator. The profile, containing markers from both crime scenes, confirmed that the same individual had committed both murders and provided the genetic foundation necessary for genealogical research. The genetic genealogy process involved uploading the perpetrator's DNA profile to public genealogy databases containing millions of genetic profiles submitted by individuals researching their family histories. According to the investigation timeline, this analysis identified distant relatives of the suspect, creating a genetic family tree that investigators could follow to identify potential matches within the appropriate geographic and demographic parameters. Genealogical researchers working with law enforcement traced the genetic connections through multiple generations, eventually focusing on a family lineage that included individuals living in Montana during the 1990s. According to investigative records, this process required several months of meticulous research, cross-referencing genetic matches with historical records, census data, and other genealogical sources to narrow the suspect pool. The investigation ultimately identified 48-year-old Robert Nathaniel Hayes as the primary suspect. According to background research, Hayes had lived in the Bozeman area during both time periods when the murders occurred, working as a freelance construction contractor specializing in remote cabin and infrastructure projects throughout the Gallatin Valley. His employment history explained his intimate knowledge of wilderness areas and isolated locations where the victims' remains were discovered. Further investigation revealed that Hayes had maintained a low profile throughout his adult life, avoiding significant criminal charges that might have resulted in DNA collection for law enforcement databases. According to criminal history records, his only documented interactions with police involved minor traffic violations and a single domestic disturbance call that resulted in no charges. This clean record had allowed him to avoid detection during the original investigation. Surveillance operations conducted in October 2023 confirmed Hayes's continued residence in Montana, where he operated a small construction business from his property approximately 30 miles from Bozeman. According to operational reports, investigators observed his daily routines and confirmed his identity before obtaining court authorization for DNA collection through discarded materials. The definitive match occurred when laboratory analysis of Hayes's discarded coffee cup confirmed his DNA profile matched evidence from both crime scenes. According to forensic documentation, the statistical probability of the match occurring by chance was less than 1 in several billion, providing overwhelming scientific evidence of his involvement in both murders. Law enforcement agencies coordinated Hayes' arrest on November 8, 2023, at his residence. According to arrest records, he offered no resistance and made no statements during the apprehension process. A search warrant executed simultaneously at his property yielded additional evidence, including items that investigators believe may have belonged to the victims, though specific details remained sealed pending trial proceedings. The Gallatin County Attorney's Office filed formal charges against Hayes on November 12, 2023, including 2 counts of deliberate homicide and related charges. According to court documents, prosecutors expressed confidence in their ability to secure convictions based on the DNA evidence and supporting investigative findings developed over nearly 3 decades. News of Hayes' arrest sent shockwaves through the Bozeman community, where many residents had assumed the cases would never be solved. According to media reports, the announcement prompted mixed emotions of relief that the perpetrator had been identified and renewed grief for the victims whose lives had been cut short by his actions. The families of both victims expressed gratitude for the persistence of investigators who had never abandoned their pursuit of justice. According to victim advocacy services, the resolution provided a measure of closure that the families had never expected to receive after so many years of uncertainty and unanswered questions. The resolution of the Morrison and Valdez murders after 27 years represents more than the conclusion of 2 tragic cases. It demonstrates the evolution of criminal justice and the enduring commitment to seeking truth, regardless of time's passage. According to law enforcement officials, the successful identification and arrest of Robert Nathaniel Hayes validates the importance of preserving evidence and maintaining hope that technological advances will eventually provide answers to seemingly unsolvable crimes. The impact of these murders on Bozeman extended far beyond the immediate investigation period. According to community leaders, the crimes fundamentally altered how residents approached personal safety, outdoor recreation, and trust within their community. The knowledge that a killer had operated undetected for years created lasting changes in behavior patterns, security measures, and social dynamics that persisted long after media attention faded. Montana State University implemented comprehensive safety protocols that became permanent features of campus life. According to administrative records, enhanced lighting systems, expanded security patrols, emergency communication networks, and mandatory safety education programs emerged directly from lessons learned during the investigation. These measures, initially viewed as temporary responses to immediate danger, evolved into standard practices that continue protecting students decades later. The preservation of physical evidence proved crucial to eventual resolution, highlighting the importance of proper evidence management in cold case investigations. According to forensic specialists, the careful storage and cataloging of biological materials, trace evidence, and crime scene documentation under controlled conditions enabled successful DNA analysis using techniques that did not exist during the original investigation. This experience influenced evidence preservation protocols throughout Montana and neighboring states. Genetic genealogy emerged as a revolutionary tool for solving cold cases, offering new hope for families of victims in unsolved crimes nationwide. According to the National Institute of Justice, the techniques used to identify Hayes represent part of a broader transformation in forensic science that has solved hundreds of previously unsolvable cases. The success in Bozeman contributed to expanding acceptance and utilization of these methods by law enforcement agencies. The families of Danielle Morrison and Christina Valdez experienced complex emotions upon learning of Hayes' arrest. According to victim services coordinators, the resolution provided long-sought answers while simultaneously reopening wounds that had never fully healed. The knowledge that their daughter's killer had lived freely for decades, while they struggled with grief and uncertainty, created additional layers of trauma requiring ongoing support and counseling. Community response to Hayes' arrest reflected the deep scars left by the unsolved murders. According to local media coverage, many residents expressed relief that the perpetrator had been identified, while others struggled with the realization that someone they may have encountered in daily life had committed such heinous crimes. The revelation that Hayes had operated a business in the area and maintained a seemingly normal life challenged assumptions about recognizing dangerous individuals. The investigation's duration demonstrated both the limitations and strengths of traditional law enforcement methods. According to case analysis, the original investigation employed thorough, professional techniques appropriate for its time period, but lacked the technological capabilities necessary for resolution. The eventual breakthrough required patience, resource allocation, and willingness to embrace innovative approaches that built upon decades of careful evidence preservation. Educational institutions and law enforcement agencies incorporated lessons from the Morrison-Valdez cases into training programs for investigators, forensic specialists, and victim services personnel. According to training documentation, the cases illustrate the importance of maintaining detailed records, preserving evidence properly, and continuing to pursue leads even when immediate prospects appear dim. These lessons influence how current investigations are conducted and managed. The broader implications extend to discussions about criminal justice, victim rights, and community safety. According to legal scholars, the successful resolution after nearly 3 decades raises questions about statute of limitations, resource allocation for cold cases, and the balance between pursuing historical crimes and addressing current public safety needs. These considerations continue shaping policy discussions at state and national levels. The memorial scholarship established in Danielle Morrison's name has supported dozens of environmental science students at Montana State University. According to scholarship administrators, recipients often express awareness of the tragedy that created their opportunity and demonstrate commitment to honoring Danielle's memory through their academic and professional achievements. This positive legacy provides meaning amid the senseless loss of life. The resolution of these cases offers hope to other families enduring the pain of unsolved crimes. According to victim advocacy organizations, the Morrison-Valdez breakthrough demonstrates that justice, while sometimes delayed, remains possible through persistent effort, technological advancement, and unwavering commitment to truth. The arrest of Robert Nathaniel Hayes closes a dark chapter in Bozeman's history while opening new possibilities for solving other cold cases that have long challenged investigators.